the first thing is, what is virtualization? Okay, it create a software based or a virtual representation of application, virtual representation of a server, or virtual representation of a storage, virtual representation of network. Okay, it is a virtual representation or a software based to reduce IT expenses while boosting efficiency and agility. That's secondary point. Virtualization can increase IT agility, flexibility, scalability while creating significant cost saving, greater workload mobility, increased performance, availability of resources, automated operations. There are all benefits of virtualization that makes IT simpler to manage, less costly to own and operate. These are all benefits of kind of stuff. Of course, last point is here, software defined data center. Remember that point. So software defined data center. We'll come back to the what is virtualization again. I will explain. So what is this virtualization? Let us get what PPT it is thing. So first of all, understanding of virtualization, it is understanding from what we know. We should understand it from what we know, what we are doing, what we are already we have seen, kind of stuff. You know, whenever we hear a word called a virtualization, whenever we hear the word called a virtualization, what comes in mind? Whenever we heard the word virtualization, virtual, what comes in our mind? Tell me, anyone? When you hear virtual, virtual is not physical. Okay, that one. Virtual classes, virtual classes, virtual private network, virtual private network, virtual hard disk, virtual machines, virtual reality, virtual reality. You guys got it? Virtual. What is virtualization? Either it is a software defined or virtual presenting, virtual representation of something. It's a software defined one or a virtual representation of something. It is function like a how your function is a physical one. Okay, software defined networks, VLAN. So we'll go to the point where we see in virtual, any virtual related. So just we'll put everything in virtual in one place. So whatever the here you heard about a virtual kind of stuff, virtual machine. Guys, are you able to hear?
Yes, sir.
Virtual hard disk, VPN. What is VPN? Virtual private network. What is VPN? Virtual private network. Okay. VLAN means virtual LAN. Virtual LAN. Virtual LAN. Okay. Virtual LAN. Of course, virtual applications also there. Virtual IDs kind of stuff. Virtual machine. Virtual hard disk. Virtual private network. VLAN. VM network. Virtual networks also there. Software defined networks also there. software defined network, software defined data centers, virtual machines, virtual hard disks, anything. I told some few things, right? What it is? Virtual reality, virtual reality. Okay. So in a virtualization, there is a server virtualization, desktop virtualization, storage virtualization, network virtualization. Okay. Presentation virtualization, presentation virtualization, um, application virtualization, user experience virtualization. These are the virtualization types. My point is here, whenever you hear a virtual, okay, whenever you hear a virtual, okay, so what are the things you got in mind? That is the first point, right? So we use a virtual machines, and we use virtual hard disks. Of course, we are not using a virtual private network, but we heard what is VPN. Okay, virtual private network, VLANs, SDNs, or any other kind of, so many other virtual kind of stuff also there, right? So for understanding virtualization, I'm giving an example of virtual machine. Okay, virtual machine, I'm using it for understanding virtualization. Okay, not virtual machine is not a virtualization, only concept is not like that. You know guys, there is a few things compulsory, keep it always in mind. Cloud does not mean storage. Cloud does not mean storage. Cloud is not storage. In a cloud, there is a lot of services. One of the service is storage, not only one service. Cloud has an application related service, software services, infrastructure services, desktop related services, database services, IoT services, lot of services. Cloud giving lot of different type of services. Important is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service, mainly three services. And of course, there is lot of services. It will comes under these categories or not. That is only one thing. And certain organizations also providing storage services like a Google Store, OneDrive, Mega, ForShared, or so many other like a Dropbox. Okay, Dropbox, iCloud. These are also providing. So like that, you have to understand. Okay, so cloud means it is providing lot of services. Next, virtualization does not mean only virtual machine. Okay, virtualization does not mean only virtual machines. In virtualization, there is a lot of different virtual things are there. Storage virtualization, like a hard disk, virtual hard disk, virtual machines, virtual networks, virtual routers, virtual switches. Okay, so virtual switches, virtual routers, software defined networks. Virtual routers, virtual switches. Okay, so software defined wise. Okay, so that is also comes under virtualization. Virtual servers, different type of storages. Okay, so that comes under here. Okay, but for understanding, I am using virtual machines for our understanding. Okay, the questions will come up. We'll see that one. Look at here, guys. This is a machine, right? This is a machine, a physical machine. I'm installing a OS here. For example, I installed a Windows operating system. I'm installing Windows operating system. This is my laptop. I have an operating system. I install Windows operating system. I run some application. I made certain settings. I have a user account. If I want, I will create another user account. I have connected to network. I'm getting internet like this. Next one. This is another physical machine, but internally I have a virtual machine. This is virtual machine. Okay, this is a PC1. This is PC2. This is virtual machine 1. This is a virtual machine. Guys, we created a virtual machines. Inside a virtual machine, we install a OS. For example, I install Windows 10. Okay. And I install application. I can already last time I showed yesterday my Windows 10 Pro. There is a Docker is installed. Other applications also installed, right? I install applications. I can do setting. I created a disk management, user management, right? Service management. Like this. Now tell me what is the difference between these two things? Okay. So first of all, similarities will go. Both physical machine and virtual machines. Can we install OS or not? Can we work with your OS or not? Can you able to install application as you're required or not? Can we create a user? Can you do settings? Can you access internet? Or can you access network? Can you share a folder? Like your physical machine. Can we do it or not? Guys?
Yes, sir.
Then what's the difference? Our virtual machine having CPU and also we are assigning some RAM, right? So 2 GB, 4 GB RAM. Like physical machine having a RAM. Virtual machine also having a RAM. Physical machine having a hard disk. Virtual machine also having a hard disk. Okay, so as a first point, based on the functionality, virtual machine and physical machine both are same. Based on the functionality, virtual machine and a physical machine both are same based on functionality. Next. Okay, so first point is based on the functionality, virtual machine and physical machine is same. Both we can do same function. The difference is what physical machine having physical hardware, right? So you can see your physical hardware. There is a CPU, physical RAM, physical hard disk, physical motherboard, physical monitor is there, right? Physical machine having physical hardware. This is a physical machine. I have a CPU. I have a RAM. I have a hard disk. I have a motherboard, power supply, everything. we have. Same thing, this is a physical machine having a CPU, RAM, hard disk, and power supply, motherboard, everything is there. But virtual machine also having a hardware. Virtualization, virtual machine utilize your hardware resources. This is a CPU, your RAM, your hard disk, okay, whatever it is, it is utilize your physical resources, and it creates means our virtualization platform. Our virtualization platforms create a virtual representation. Means this virtualization platform, okay, the virtualization, why it is coming like this? This virtualization platform creating virtual CPU for this virtual machine, it creating virtual CPU, RAM, okay, so means on vmem, okay, virtual representation of everything, virtual hard disk, virtual RAM, virtual BIOS, virtual UEFI, virtual CPUs. You know, we are adding 3 lines. In that 3 line, the first line is hypervisor CPU ID false. CPU ID V0 equal to false. What is that meaning is? What is the meaning is? It's a virtual representation. Again, I will go back. Okay, sorry. Yeah, we added 3 lines. The first line is hypervisor virtual, CPU ID V0 false means negative, right? So no kind of stuff, right? So what is it? Hypervisor CPU ID means virtual CPU, okay? So physical machine having a physical CPU, which is physical exist. Virtual CPU defined by software. In our case is VMware Workstation or VirtualBox or any other software you are using. The software is hypervisor. The software is nothing but a hypervisor. It creates, when you create a virtual machine, it creates virtual CPU, virtual RAMs, virtual hard disk, virtual hardware infrastructure, virtual networking, virtual bridges, it creates. That is the virtual machines. What is a virtual machine? It utilizes your physical resources by extracting a virtual infrastructure from it. Okay, it is independent from your physical machine, not dependent. It utilizes your resources, but not depends upon your physical resources, not binding to your physical resources, not binding to your physical resources. That's why the virtual machines, we can move from our physical machine to other physical machines or storages. For example, earlier days when one day what happened, I had taken 2 machines. One is Oracle 11Z. I installed in a one Linux machine, and I just copy that virtual machine into my external hard disk. So I copied into others, some of my students that time. So they have a laptop, they want to practice in their home. Some are want to practice in their hometown after interview also. So what I've done, I copied into their laptops from my physical machine to their physical machine through using a external hard disk. I store in external hard disk. I copied that virtual machine into their physical machines, laptops. Again, I open it. There is small setting is required, so then I done a setting. So they are able to work on it. See it is. I have a virtual machine. I configured as per my requirements. Now someone want it, I can give it to them directly a virtual machine because of it is not binded to your physical hardware, not a binded to physical hardware or physical resources or a physical machine. Okay. Similarly, other virtualizations also same. Application virtualization. Application is running, it is virtualized. Okay, we can access the application or multiple users can able to access same application at a time, but not binding. It utilize your physical resources, not a not binding to your physical machine. Okay, guys, this is about your simple understanding of virtualization. Virtualization is nothing but a by functionality. It works like a physical machine or a physical one. It utilizes physical resources or runs on your physical hardware. Okay, so virtualization softwares, virtualization related software, so virtualized matter, hypervisor softwares actually. They create a virtual representations of infrastructure for virtual machines like a virtual CPU, virtual RAMs, virtual hard disk kind of stuff. Okay, so virtual things are not virtual things are running on physical hardware resources but not binded to physical resources. You can move your virtual things from one system to another system. Okay, like that. So this is the base concept of physical and virtualization. Guys, understand what is this virtual machine virtualization? Basic meaning.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The next one is there is of course benefits of virtualization is there. So what is the benefits of virtualization also I will tell. So this is my physical machine, guys. In the physical machine, I'm running multiple virtual machines. For example, we are attended our classes, right? The first class is Windows 10. So I have my physical machine Windows 10, but that is Windows 10 Home Edition. I want to show you practicals on Enterprise Edition. Home Edition is not suitable for so many other things. I want to show you some practicals, so then I use Enterprise Edition, BitLocker kind of stuff. So what I have done, I installed VMware Workstation. Inside a VMware Workstation, I create a virtual machine, Windows 10. I installed Windows 10 operating system. Then we done a practical. Next one, there is another class, right? So next class is Windows Server. For Windows servers, we needed minimum two machines. One is server, another is a client. Already I have a Windows 10. So then I install a Windows server in another virtual machine. Another virtual machine. So I install Windows Server operating system. I install Active Directory, DNS. I configure it as a domain controller and DHCP. Okay, other services like a work folder. Okay, DFS kind of stuff also we configure. Right? So server, virtual machine act like a server. Windows 10 virtual machine act like a client. So we done a server client kind of stuff. So two machines we run in the same physical machine. Next class is Linux. We take another virtual machine. We install Linux inside. We use Linux machine for Linux basics. In a Linux admin, FTP, NFS, CFS, SCP. For these kind of stuff, what I have done, I use two Linux machines. One Linux is like a server, another Linux machine is like a client. So we created something, or I installed some services in one server, we access it from the other server, right? But all these things, I never use another physical machine, right? I use my physical machine only. Inside one single physical machine, I created multiple virtual machines. I installed different type of operating systems and we used it. So if you want to see in a physical environment, when we started a virtual kind of stuff, of course, from 2011 onwards, because I know virtual kind of stuff from 2009, but infrastructure wise, at that time it is 1 GB RAMs, not much utilized. But when we realized that there is a Microsoft Hyper-V, Microsoft Virtual PC kind of software is there. So from 2011 onwards, almost like full-fledged virtualization we are using. Not 11, 10 also I know. 9 itself I know, but we are used from 10 onwards, 2010 onwards. So different type of virtualization, that too main 10 only, 10. So Microsoft Virtual PC, then VMware Workstation. That time 7 version is there, VMware Workstation 7 version, as I remember. From 2009, 7 version is released. Okay, so we know that one. So then we use it from there. Later on days, we started understanding and all. VirtualBox is also came into market later. So finally, we receive certain issues from some people, students and other management. So mostly like they don't want virtual kind of stuff, they want a physical machines. Of course, everybody has their own way or a point kind of stuff, but point is here. For example, I want to show you practical Windows 10. Mine is Windows 10 Home, so I have to purchase Windows 10 Professional Enterprise. Then I have to buy another physical machine for Windows Server. Then I have to put a camera because we are sitting in online. Okay, so I have to show Windows Server practicals, Windows client practicals by shifting the camera or shifting monitor kind of stuff, whatever it is. Okay. Next, Linux practical came up. Then I have to buy another PC for installing Linux. I needed 2 Linux machines. Then I have to buy another one. Then for your one batch, how to create 4 machines. Last time we done a one practical, that is RAID. RAID required at least 3 hard disks. Then I have to buy 3 hard disks from market. I have to attach it to my server. Then I can show you RAID 1, RAID 0, RAID 1, RAID 5 kind of stuff. Okay. So next one, I've shown backup types using 2003 server. Normal backup, incremental backup, differential backup. So like that. Okay. Normal backup, incremental backup, differential backup. Okay, using 2003 server. So again, I need another machine. So what happening here? If I keep buying computers, then what happen? My infrastructure cost increases. Who will give money? Company will give money? Nothing. If I want that kind of stuff, I have to go to office. I have to connect those PCs. It is very difficult, right? But I can able to show you, but how you will do it? Are you going to market, like ask people to increase your RAM capacity? So people said, sir, we are difficult to in a position. It is 3,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees, 3,000, around 3,000 rupees of a extra RAM, 3,000 rupees of extra RAM. So we can't purchase it. Other than that, when we buy another one, kind of stuff. Okay. So why? Because it's a burden. For a RAM itself, it is you feel burden. How can you buy a computer, extra computer again for every practical? It is practically it's not good, right? So here again, I'm telling I have a 12 GB RAM, so I create a virtual machines. So if I want to speed up, I will use 4 GB for virtual machine. If I want to okay with it, I will use 2 GB for him. I add a three virtual hard disk to my virtual physical machine. Virtual machine. Then I perform write configuration, LVM configuration. Okay, I install 2003 server. I perform backup practical. I perform Linux practicals. I perform Windows Server practical. I perform Windows 10 practicals, server client practicals. Okay, so on the virtual machines. I didn't buy anything, right? So that is the main point I am trying to say is cost reduction. Cost, the overall cost reduction, not a single cost, guys. Overall cost reduction. So how it is possible? So look at here. Machines you put it. You have to put it in a place. Place is required. Laptop I put it in my table mate. Table mate I purchase a table mate. Then I put it in my table mate. Okay. So in my hometown also my mom purchased 2 table mates. Okay, one for me, one for my nephew. Okay, so he got a computer table also. I got another computer table also. But I put a laptop simply in a table mate, so I can easily shift it from one place to another place. That is point number one. In case if I put a more computers, I have to put a some place. That is second. Third point is power supply. Again, I have to buy very big spike. Okay, and power converter means higher ampere rating power plug is should be there, not 5 amps, at least 15 amps or 20 amps power connection must be there. Then you have to give the power connection to each and every computer. Okay, so not only a desktop, it's monitor cost, keyboard, mouse kind of stuff you have to maintain. Power related cost, space related cost, cooling systems, you have to maintain cooling, air cooler, AC kind of stuff, cooling system, you have to use it. IP addresses, static or dynamic IP addresses you have to maintain. Again, I have to put a separate switch. Here I'm not using any switch here, software switches only. So I have to buy another hardware switch. Cables, connections. See, complexity, power consumption increases. Now, how much my laptop is consuming? Total cost that much only. Okay, whether I use a virtual machine or not, my laptop consumes power, that much power only, not extra power, maybe 1% extra, not more. Okay, but if in case I put a 10 computers or a 5 computers, think like that, 5 computers consumes 5 computers power 5 times a year. So that is overall cost reduction. So that is the benefits of virtualization. We don't need to use so much of capital investments, reduce capital and operating system cost. Operating cost, not operating system cost. Reduce capital. Capital means investment. Operating means working for protection, machines, power connections, maintenance, storage maintenance, network connections. These are all operating cost. Reduce capital and operating cost. Minimize and eliminate downtime. Minimize and eliminate downtime. So mostly your physical machine is very important. Virtual machine is automatically works if your physical machine is running perfectly. So make sure that there's other things also there. So that we will discuss. Next, increase IT productivity. Increase IT productivity, efficiency, agility, and responsiveness. Faster provisioning of applications and resources. What are the applications you have? Then you can Simply you'll create a virtual machine as per the requirement and we can run that application inside. Greater business continuity and disaster recovery, simple data center management, availability of true software defined center. You know what is a data center? Data center contains multiple servers, storage devices in the data center. Okay, multiple storage devices in the data center. So what is this software defined data center? Very simple. In my laptop, I have a multiple servers, multiple desktops, multiple things. So directly I have a multiple machines. I'm maintaining network connections. Okay, virtually storage devices are like. So that is why it is called a software defined data center. These are the types of virtualization, guys. Types of virtualizations are server virtualization, network virtualization, desktop virtualization, application virtualization, storage virtualization, user state virtualization, presentation virtualization. Out of these virtualization, current virtualizations in the market, first five only. Server virtualization, network virtualization, desktop virtualization, application virtualization, storage virtualization is important. Okay, again guys, server virtualization is generally we call VMware, vSphere, ESXi, Hyper-V. These are all comes under server virtualization. So separate technologies there. Application virtualization, Hyper-V, sorry, AppV, AppV technology. Desktop virtualization is a server virtualization thing only, but VMware workstations, VirtualBox is a one example. Okay, and of course Zen desktop, Horizon. These are all comes under desktop virtualization. Network virtualization, so many other things are there, but basic concepts are NIC teaming, VMnet zero bridge creation, external network, internal, private network, host only networks. These are all words comes under network virtualizations. Storage virtualization, virtual hard disk, fixed disk, dynamically expanding, differencing disk, VHD, VHDX, VHDA, VMDK, QCOW2. That's it. Okay. User state is UE-V technology from Microsoft. Presentation virtualization is nothing. It's just a remote desktop virtualization. Okay. Remote apps technology. Guys, application virtualization, desktop virtualization, user state virtualization, presentation virtualization is a single shot explanation. So I will explain first server virtualization. What are there in the server virtualization? And I will show you VMware vSphere. Then we'll see storage virtualization. We'll see. Okay. Otherwise, that's we will stop there. And then in when Hyper-V, I will store storage virtualization directly. I will tell. So no problem in that one. Okay. So network virtualization I will show in the Hyper-V also. Okay. Desktop virtualization and all I will explain it. So currently it is 10 to 1. This is a basic introduction of your virtualization. Again, I will go back. What is virtualization? What is the use of virtualization? When you hear virtual means what is the things comes in your mind. So then explain what is virtualization based on any of the example. Any of the example. Virtual reality. You can tell virtual reality. It's not technology in our infrastructure management. Virtual reality is a technology, but not virtualization technology. Okay. So, but still, what are the thing? What I'm trying to say is, try to give an example so then people can easily understand. So, like that we have to give. So, why I'm choose virtual machines? Because of virtual machines, we used it. We understand power of virtualization. Okay, we can understand what is the power of virtualization. What is the power of virtualization? Cost benefit, multiple different type of operating systems, different type of applications we can run in a single physical machine by creating virtual machines inside. So I'm running Windows 10, Windows Server, Linux operating systems, and 2003 server, Windows XP machine in my single physical machine only. So that's the power. And also I use at a time two Linux machines, and I use at a time Windows Server, Windows Client, similar time. For Active Directory, DHCP, DNS practicals, I use server and client in the same single physical machine. That is the main powerful, right? So virtualization is a very basic starting level of a cloud computing. People said like, yes, sir, why we need a virtualization, why we need IP address, why we need networking. We have a cloud now. The cloud is built based on the data centers. Virtualizing the data centers makes cloud computing is possible. If you don't virtualize your data centers, there is no cloud at all. There is no cloud at all. Okay. The backend technology of a cloud is nothing but a virtualization. Infrastructure as a service, server virtualization, infrastructure as a service, server virtualization, software as a service, application virtualization, software as a service, application virtualization. Okay. Platform as a service, application virtualizations, or a presentation virtualization, or a application virtualization. You can say application virtualization dependent. Okay. Desktop as a service, desktop as a service, DAS. Okay. Network as service, network services in the cloud, network services in the cloud, network virtualization. Storage, right? EBS, S3 bucket, EFS, SAN, NAS, these are all comes under storage virtualization. Yeah, tell me. Okay, so cloud is made up of virtualization platform only. Without no virtualization, no cloud. That's it. So next part I will explain about server virtualization. Then we'll go to different names of server virtualization is there. Sorry, I'm not writing everything on a notepad. So I will do it. I will try. So, okay. If you understand, that is enough. If you don't understand, that's okay. No problem. And not okay, but okay. So these are the types of virtualization. At least remember the first five. Types of virtualization: server virtualization, network virtualization, desktop virtualization, application, storage, or server, network, storage, desktop, and application. You know, better is always this one. There is a pretty straightforward answers are there for this one. We can tell some example. This is little confusion always. This is perfectly all right. Network, storage, server, desktop, application, and actually desktop should be under after server kind of stuff only. Okay. See, I will explain server virtualization, desktop virtualization, okay, and how it is possible, and other things also about a desktop virtualization also we'll see. Take a break, guys. Take a 5 minutes break. Just 5 minutes break. Come back at 1 o'clock. take another 15-20 minutes for explaining server virtualization. Don't think like that. I will take at least half an hour. Okay. No guarantee in that one. So that's at least I will take half an hour. Then we will go for lunch.